Bills, bills, bills. Wait, what's this? A student privacy letter? It's mail time! Dear Utah State Board of Education Privacy Team, I know that directory information is considered a FERPA exception, but I'm confused on certain details. Please help. Sincerely, Janet. Thanks for your question, Janet. I'm here to help. What parts of directory information can parents not opt out of? A parent cannot use a directory information opt-out to make a student completely anonymous in the school. Specifically, an opt-out cannot be used to prevent disclosure of a student's name, ID number, or email address in a class they're enrolled in. It also cannot be used to prevent this information from appearing on a student ID card, or to prevent a requirement to have the student wear or publicly display their ID card. What is a reasonable timeline for opting out? FERPA requires LEAs to provide notice to parents of their right to opt out of directory information. This notice needs to include a timeline for opting out. This makes sense because schools at some point are going to start making directory information disclosures, such as sporting events, concerts, plays, birthday parties, etc. So there has to be a deadline to guarantee to the parent that directory information won't be shared. Most schools give parents some time within the first month of the school year, some as early as the first day of school. The key is to determine locally when you're going to start releasing directory information, and then base your reasonable timeline on that. Can we have an a la carte directory information policy? Directory information doesn't have to be all or nothing. In fact, some parents may want their student to appear in the yearbook, but not any other disclosures. So long as you have the ability to track and honor a la carte opt-outs, you can have an a la carte policy. Is there information that cannot be designated directory information? FERPA explicitly states that social security numbers can never be designated directory information. Furthermore, the U.S. Department of Education has stated that items designated as directory information need to be like those that are explicitly listed in FERPA. How do we handle directory information of graduated students? Say it's a student's senior year, and at the beginning of the year, the parents opt that student out of directory information. Then the student turns 18, and all FERPA rights are given to the student. How should the prior opt-out be handled? In this case, the parent's opt-out would still be valid. Schools are required to honor directory information opt-outs regardless of if the FERPA rights are transferred to the student or if the student graduates. Now, the school could go back to the eligible student and see if they'd like to opt back in, but it would not automatically happen just because the student turned 18 or graduates. When are we required to share directory information? FERPA is a permissive law. It states the conditions that must be met before sharing directory information. It doesn't require the school to share information with anyone. Utah's open records law, GRAMA, dictates when a school would have to share a record. But note, this might not be the same as directory information. For example, if an individual makes a GRAMA request for a copy of the school yearbook, this is a record that contains directory information. The school would have to comply in accordance with GRAMA. But if the same individual made a request for directory information for which there is no record, GRAMA would not compel you to create a record. When does directory information cease to be directory information? Directory information ceases to be directory information once it's combined with non-directory information. So say you've got a list of student names, ID numbers, and birth dates. This is likely directory information per your local policy. But if you combine this information with student grades, which is likely not directory information, then it all ceases to be directory information. This means you can no longer share that data set in accordance with your policy. Can charter schools share directory information with the student's district of residence? Districts may request directory information of students living within the district's boundaries, most likely the student's home address. This may be to run population projections within their boundaries. Assuming student home address has been designated as directory information and you checked for opt-outs, then you can share the information. How do we create a limited directory information policy? FERPA allows schools to create a limited directory information policy. This is where you would limit directory information disclosures to specific purposes, specific parties, or both. For example, You could say that student photos are directory information, but you're only going to disclose them in official school publications like a yearbook. If you have a lot of parents who are opting out, you could ask them why and what their concerns are. It's possible that they're concerned about the open-ended nature of your directory information policy, or they're worried about a specific purpose for a disclosure. Having a limited directory information policy can help calm their fears and make it so you have fewer opt-outs to keep track of. Just remember that if you promise parents to limit disclosures, you've got to make good on that promise. How do we decide what is an honor? Most directory information policies will allow schools to disclose an honor, such as being on the honor roll or another achievement. These can be defined locally by the school, so long as they can't be used to easily identify students not receiving that honor. What does that mean? Say you wanted to disclose the names of every student who achieved proficiency on the end-of-year summative exam. This would mean that anyone not on the list clearly is not proficient. That's a problem. You're revealing more than just an honor. A better example would be if you said every student getting at least a 30 on the ACT is an honor. Do you know who didn't get a passing score? No. Many students not on the list got very good scores too. I can tell you from personal experience that getting a 29 is good enough to work for the State Board of Education. Also, take care with honors that might include other sensitive information. Getting a scholarship is generally an honor. Getting a needs-based scholarship would also be an honor, but it also tells us something about that student's family's income, which isn't directory information. Well, that's it for mail time. Keep those letters coming. Or, for a quicker response, you can always contact us at